Most men believe every woman's body should be touched and tasted the same way. But let me tell you, there are places you should never put your tongue. Not because intimacy is wrong, but because real wisdom is knowing where passion should stop. The truth is, desire can blind you, but knowledge protects you. A woman's body has parts that are sensitive, fragile, and not meant for careless exploration. Respecting those boundaries does not make you less of a man. It makes you more of a leader when it comes to intimacy. When a man approaches a woman, he often assumes every part of her is open to his desire. That his passion gives him the right to do whatever he wants in the heat of the moment. But what separates an ordinary man from one who is unforgettable is not the level of his hunger, but the wisdom in how he controls it. A wise man knows a woman's body is not just flesh. It is a kingdom with doors, gates, and sacred spaces. And every kingdom demands respect. Just because you are welcomed inside does not mean every corner is meant to be conquered. Some places are too private, too vulnerable to be touched without care, and if you rush blindly into them, you risk breaking the very trust that makes intimacy powerful. Respecting boundaries is not weakness. It does not mean you are holding back. It is true strength. A man who practices restraint proves that his desire does not own him. He owns his desire. A man like that becomes a leader in intimacy because his woman feels safe with him. She trusts that he will not take what she has not offered or cross where she has not invited him, and that trust builds something deeper. Because when a woman feels secure in your hands, she opens herself even more. It is not the man who recklessly explores every inch that wins her heart. It is the man who knows when to move forward, when to pause, and when to respect her boundaries. Think about this. Every woman carries her own story, her own past, her own level of comfort. What one woman allows, another may completely reject. To assume they all want the same thing is to treat her like an object, not a person. But when you see her uniqueness, when you understand her body tells its own story, you approach her with patience. You pay attention not only to her words, but to her breathing, her reactions, her body language. You let her guide you. And by doing so, you honor her individuality. That is what turns physical closeness into true connection. Many men think being a leader in the bedroom means being aggressive and in control all the time. But true leadership is not about domination. It is about guidance. It is about creating safety so both of you can explore without fear. A man who respects boundaries shows mastery because his strength is not just physical. It is mental and emotional. He does not try to prove himself by doing everything. He proves himself by doing the right things in the right way at the right time. That is what makes a woman remember you. That is what makes her crave you, not just for your touch, but for the way she feels valued around you. Hygiene and health are not optional. A man who knows what not to touch or taste understands that real pleasure comes from safety, not recklessness. Intimacy is not just about passion, it is about care. Too many men forget this. They rush into desire, forgetting the body is not a playground but a temple. A woman may let you close, but if you neglect hygiene, you fail to respect her. The truth is, passion without responsibility is not love. It is selfishness. To put your lips or tongue on what is unclean, irritated, or unsafe is to play with fire. You not only endanger yourself, but you also disrespect her. Real men know this. That is why they show restraint. They observe, they check, they make sure everything is safe before giving in to pleasure. They understand that deep connection does not come from reckless hunger, but from careful awareness. Choosing health over impulse shows discipline, and discipline is attractive. Discipline tells a woman she can trust you with not just her body, but her well-being. It tells her you see her as more than a body. She is someone worth protecting. That simple awareness creates a bond because every woman wants to feel secure in her partner's hands. She may never say it, but she feels it when you act responsibly, and it changes the way she looks at you. Pleasure should never come at the cost of health. You can create desire without putting either of you at risk. And here is the secret. When a woman knows you care about her comfort, her safety, her hygiene, she relaxes. She lets go of fear, of doubt, of hesitation. That relaxation makes her body more open, her mind more connected, her heart more trusting. You do not have to do everything to impress her. You only have to do the right things, and in this case, the right thing is to protect her as much as you please her. Some men confuse recklessness with passion, thinking being bold means ignoring limits, but true passion is not careless. True passion pays attention. It waits for the right time and chooses the right way. The man who rushes may have his moment, but the man who shows wisdom leaves an impact that lasts. Women never forget the difference, so when you are with her, remember this. Safety is not weakness. It is the strongest foundation you can build. Respect her body enough to know where not to go, when not to taste, and when to pause. That respect not only protects you, it elevates you in her eyes. You will not be just another man. You will be the one she trusts. The man who understands intimacy is not only about fire, but about protection. Passion without awareness becomes dangerous. Many men rush into the moment, driven by excitement, blinded by their own hunger, but intimacy is not a race. It is a language, and like any language, it requires patience and understanding. A man who rushes often leaves a woman feeling unsafe, disconnected, or used. Passion is not the problem. Passion is beautiful, but passion without awareness is reckless. A wise man knows every moment of intimacy is a chance to listen, to read, to feel. He does not see her body as a battlefield. He sees it as a story. Awareness is about paying attention to her breathing, her tension, the way she responds to your touch. Most men miss these cues because they are caught up in what they want instead of what she is feeling. But the man who slows down, who studies her reactions, becomes unforgettable. He does not just enter her body, he enters her heart and her soul. Awareness also means knowing where not to go. Not every part of her is ready at every moment. Sometimes her body may not be comfortable. Sometimes what you think is exciting is painful for her. If you are not aware, you will miss those signals and cross lines that damage trust. But if you are aware, you will pause, you will shift, you will respect her unspoken boundaries, and that respect builds her desire for you. There is nothing more powerful than a man who merges passion with awareness. Few men ever find this balance. Passion by itself can burn too fast. Awareness by itself can feel too careful. But when you combine the fire of passion with the wisdom of awareness, intimacy becomes unforgettable. She not only enjoys you physically, but trusts you emotionally, and that trust is what makes her body respond in ways careless passion never could. So, in the heat of desire, remember this: passion is the spark, but awareness is the flame that keeps it alive. Without awareness, passion fades. With awareness, passion becomes a bond she never forgets. Desire is strong, but control is even stronger. Any man can be consumed by desire, but it takes true strength to master self-control. Women notice this instantly. A man who is led by hunger looks desperate, but a man who can feel desire and still hold back becomes irresistible. Control is not the absence of desire, it is the mastery of it, and when she feels that mastery, she feels not just your passion but your power. Every woman wants to feel wanted. She wants your hunger, your craving, your need, but she also wants to know you are not ruled by it. That even in the fire, you still have strength to guide the moment. When you show that discipline, she feels safe to surrender. She knows you will not lose yourself. She knows you are a man, not a boy, because boys are led by impulse. Men are led by control. Control also builds anticipation, and anticipation is one of the most powerful forces in intimacy. When you hold back, when you do not give her everything at once, you create suspense. You make her body ache for more. You make her mind wonder. That kind of control makes every touch, every kiss, every moment unforgettable. It is not about how much you give, it is about how you give it. A little restraint makes everything more intense. When you finally release it, the pleasure multiplies. She knows you could have rushed, but you didn't. And that choice makes her feel deeply valued. Many men think control kills passion, but in truth it magnifies it. Control does not mean being cold. It means knowing you have fire inside, but choosing how to release it. It means not being a slave to your desire, but being a master of it. Mastery is always more attractive than recklessness. When you bring control into intimacy, you send her a message that you respect her body enough not to rush it, that you respect her mind enough not to overwhelm it, that you respect the moment enough not to waste it. This is what separates a forgettable encounter from one she remembers for life. She may forget the details of a man who rushed, but she will never forget the man who held back just enough to make her crave more. The truth is, women want both your hunger and your discipline. They want to feel you desire them, but they also want to know you are in control of yourself. That balance is what makes intimacy unforgettable. When you show control, you do not just please her body. You command her respect, her trust, her curiosity. And that is what brings her back again and again. Real intimacy is not about doing everything. It is about doing the right things at the right time. Many men believe that to impress a woman, they must push every limit, explore every part, and prove themselves by showing no restraint. But intimacy is not measured by how much you do, but by how meaningful it feels. A man who understands some areas are sacred, some moments are not meant to be rushed, builds a foundation that goes deeper than passion. That trust allows passion to grow. Without trust, even the most intense moments fade. With trust, even the simplest touch can ignite fire. A woman does not remember a man because he was adventurous. She remembers him because he knew how to make her feel safe, valued, and desired. The irony of intimacy is that restraint often creates more pleasure than recklessness. When you do not rush to taste everything, when you do not force your way into every place, you allow her imagination to grow. And imagination is the strongest part of desire. The places you do not touch echo louder in her mind than the places you do. She will wonder. She will crave. She will long for the moment you finally give more. That is why a man who understands this becomes unforgettable, because he does not just satisfy her body. He stays in her thoughts long after the night ends. Trust is the foundation of unforgettable intimacy. Without trust, passion feels empty. But when a woman trusts you, when she knows you will never cross where she has not invited you, she surrenders fully. She lets go of her walls, and when she does, intimacy reaches a level most men will never experience. It becomes emotional, mental, even spiritual. Too many men believe they are winning by recklessly exploring, but they are losing the chance to build something deeper, losing the chance to create a connection that a woman will never forget. Because once she feels her body was honored, not just used, she will never forget the man who gave her that experience. So true intimacy is not about doing everything. It is about knowing what to do, when to do it, and what not to do. It is about turning restraint into desire, about making her feel safe, respected, and connected. And once she feels that, she will crave you not just for a night, but for a lifetime. At the end of the day, intimacy is not about how wild you can be or how far you go. It is about how deeply you connect, how wisely you lead, and how respectfully you honor her. Too many men confuse passion with recklessness. Too many think hunger makes them powerful, but true power is in restraint, in discipline, in knowing not every place should be touched. Not every desire should be rushed. Not every moment should be consumed. The man who respects boundaries becomes the man who is trusted. The man who values health becomes the man who is respected. The man who balances passion with awareness becomes the man who is remembered. The man who controls his desire instead of being controlled by it becomes the man who is endlessly desired. And the man who understands intimacy is about trust, timing, and connection becomes the man a woman will crave not only with her body, but with her entire being. That is what separates the ordinary from the unforgettable. That is what makes her look at you not just as a lover, but as a man she can surrender to. A man who never takes more than she offers, a man who can lead not just with touch, but with wisdom. Because real intimacy is not about conquering her body, it is about commanding her trust, and once you earn that trust, you will never have to chase her again. She will give herself to you freely, fully, and completely, because she knows in your hands she is not just desired, she is safe. If this message spoke to you, don't just leave. Join this community. Subscribe so you never miss the wisdom that will keep your mind sharp, your spirit magnetic, and your relationships powerful.